Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to share this evening with you in this environment. And I pray that by the time we finish, our evening will not be in vain, but would have added something small to what we already might have known or might have heard about. Okay, so this evening we are going to have a little chat on the topic Data Protection Demystified, why it matters for every professional. All right, so let's see what we can talk about this evening. I've been through this already, so we'll go straight to the point. All right. Okay. So in this this I call a seminar or something, we try to demystify data governance, data protection, and its lives. Let's see. These are our previous engagements before. Hello, please let's control our environment. Just mute if you're in a noisy environment. Thank you. All right, so let's go. Let's set the stage rolling. Okay, so simply to put it, in today's information-driven professional landscape, where a single oversight in handling information can expose sensitive client details, confidential company strategy, or personal employee records, data protection is no longer a luxury. It's a core responsibility, and therefore every professional, or other professional as we are, when you are executing your task, you are safeguarding trust. So it's not just people's data you are talking about, you are rather safeguarding trust. And every piece of information you handle carries a responsibility to protect individuals and entities that are behind that data. So it's not just that we are having people's data or information, but we are entrusted now with so much responsibility and duties. Now let's look at what is happening in our digital space. Yes, we say we are in the digital age. And what has that got to do also with data? Well, I don't know whether you've heard this before, but they say data is the new oil, which is a metaphor that raises quite a lot of issues or concerns. All right. How safely are we handling this valuable resource? Oil has not helped the African continent. We have a lot of countries mining oil, but we are bedeviled with a lot of issues. And our own country, Ghana, is not an exception. We are exporting oil, we have oil, we have discovered, but it is not actually reflecting as we expect. There are so many issues around that. So how do we also safeguard this new oil? That data is the new oil, because if you look at Forbes' first 10 or top 10 companies, most valuable companies in the world, all of them except Aramco. So out of the 10, there's about only 2 that are non-IT companies. We have the Googles, the Facebook, and other things there. What are they selling that makes them more valuable than oil-producing companies? Well, we say data is the new oil. So they are selling, or they are using data. That is what is making them most valuable than the oil-producing companies. All right, so in today's interconnected world and everywhere, data is everywhere in whatever we do, in our emails, documents, customer databases, and HR systems, on our devices and in the cloud. I'm sure maybe it's most likely that the minimum or averagely everybody connected on this platform has 1 or 2 phones or lines, averagely, or uses 1 or more devices, a laptop, a tablet, and a mobile phone. Some have iOS and Android, all combined, and these are all producing huge volumes of data on daily basis. Why does this matter to you and I? All right, data processing isn't just an IT or legal concern. It's a fundamental responsibility for every professional, regardless of your role or your industry. Of course, where we are now, everybody is playing with data using issue. It is not a technical issue, but so long as you are a professional in a particular field, it is your responsibility and you should be concerned about all this. All right. Now, when we say data protection, what are we talking about? What is it all about? In practice and in simple language, we say what it is: what safeguarding personal data from unauthorized access, unlawful processing, accidental loss, destruction, or damage. Safeguarding personal data from disclosure, alteration, misuse. Okay. Note that it's more than just security. So you protecting the data alone, making it secure alone is not, it's beyond what is the, it's not what data protection, but it goes beyond that. It is about respecting individuals' right to privacy. It is also about building and maintaining trust with customers, colleagues, and partners whose data you secure, whose data you process. It's about ethical conduct in the digital realm. So that is what data protection is all about. So therefore, with all these angles, because for example, IT can provide the security needed. It is not concerned about what building or maintaining trust with customers, colleagues, and partners, just to make sure it is what secured. But respecting people's privacy is a matter of legal concern. Ethical issues comes in. So it goes beyond just saying that it is an IT issue, it is a technical problem. It goes beyond that. All right. Now, why data protection matters? The stakes are higher than ever before. Number one, legal compliance and consequences, fines and penalties, regulations like the GDPR, CCPA, NDPC, okay, POPI Act, Ghana's Data Protection Act 843, and others impose significant financial penalties for non-compliance. So if you fall short of the legal regime or the framework that has been put in place, you will face fines and penalties. And along the line, I'm going to be showing you some that you may never have heard of, or you'll be surprised that these kind of hefty penalties have been meted out to organizations that has fallen foul of the law. Legal action. Individuals and regulatory bodies can pursue lawsuits. And I'm going to also show you an example right here in Ghana where people have taken actions against institutions, okay, or bodies, organizations, as a result of violation of what? Their data protection rights. All right. It can also lead to what? Reputational damage if you don't protect people's data well. So loss of trust. A single data breach can erode years of what? Built up trust with customers. So customers will feel that, yes, you are not protecting our data so well. So it will lose trust. Yeah, it will also harm your brand. Negative publicity and tarnished reputation can impact businesses and careers. Well, I'm not going to mention the name, but there's a particular restaurant in Ghana here that if I mention the name, it is associated with so many negativities. I know you know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to mention any name. Okay, you mention the name and people abuses. People, I have been in a conference where people have refused for us to purchase food from that particular restaurant because what? Their reputation is damaged. They don't treat their workers well. That is what people, the perception people have about them. So same way, if people's data are not secured, it is breached. We have realized, people have realized that you have shared their data with other institutions without their consent or without any legal basis. Your reputation will be damaged. The comment on social media, what people will say, will tarnish the reputation of the organization. Then we also have what? Ethical responsibility. Doing the right thing, peace. Protecting personal data is a moral imperative. Respecting individuals' autonomy and dignity. So that ethical responsibility is placed on you to fulfill that. So that is why data protection matters. Hello?
Hi. Yes, we can hear you.
I hear you, sir.
Yes. Are you still able to see my screen?
No.
Let me reach. Okay. So can you see?
It's
Not
It's
yet.
blank.
It's blank?
yes, it's
Yeah,
blank.
it's blank.
Okay, let me reshare again. What about now?
Still blank.
It's still blank.
Yep.
Yes, maybe let's wait for about 10 seconds. I know at times it takes a while for pages to load, presentation pages to load on Teams.
But now, are you able to see?
We are not able to see, but it appears
No.
like it would load. So let's hold on for a few seconds and see if it would load.
Okay.
Still not loaded.
Okay. Let me. What of now? Hello?
No, it hasn't
No,
been on
still.
since you began the presentation. It has always been blank.
Wow.
Okay, so Doc, can you and make him a presenter and then make him a presenter again? Is that something you can do? Like take his presentation rights off and restore it.
Mr. Galasu, finding
Yes.
get out and then get back and let's see. Okay.
And come back. Okay. Let me do that.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see now.
Yes, we
Hello?
can. Yes, we
You
can
can
see.
see. Okay. right. All right. Okay. Well, that's technology for you. So, and I think by and by we are all getting used to this. Okay. So we got to the ethical responsibility. So say doing the right thing, protecting personal is a moral imperative. So we expect every professional to respect individuals' autonomy and dignity. Then individual rights also, empowerment. Data protection laws gives individual control over their personal data. So as a result of this, it matters. So it's not because you decide to do or not to do, but because you are enjoined by law to ensure that the individual's right is protected. So all the rights that accrues to every individual in terms of data protection, you as the professional, you ought to have that and done to the individual. All right. Now, the Data Protection Commission is the institution mandated to ensure the privacy of the individuals is respected in Ghana. And they have some powers to enforce the compliance with the Data Protection Act 843. They can also issue directives to revoke or cancel registration of organizations where necessary. They can investigate complaints, okay, with regards to what data protection breaches. They also do random audits and assessments. Then they also accredit and certify organizations. They can impose administrative fines if an organization is found culpable of the law. That is their mandate to do. All right. Now, we've been mentioning about what is talking about personal data. What therefore is a personal data? Well, it is more than just your name. Take note. Personal data is any information relating to an identified or an identifiable natural persons, which we refer to as what? A data subject. Now, the terms are very critical. Natural persons. So, personal data has to do with living individuals. So, every law across the world about personal data is talking about living individuals or natural persons. So, information about dead people, deceased people are not protected under data protection laws or in most data protection laws, including that of Ghana. Our Data Protection Act protects only natural persons, people who are living like you and I. If you're a deceased parent or deceased person data, there are other laws that protect that, but not data protection. All right, so some common examples of information that relates to either somebody that we know or somebody that can be identified from that data. We have what? Direct identifiers like name, email address, phone numbers, and physical addresses. All right. Your online identifier, your IP address, cookies, and device IDs, okay, with relation to the devices that you use online are all personal data. Demographics like age, gender, nationality, your profession, job title, employee ID, performance reviews, and your behavioral what? Data concerning browsing history, purchase history, location data are all what? Personal data. Then we also have what we call the special categories or sensitive data. All right, the reason why these are termed special category or sensitive data is that these are the data that has the tendency of someone having a biased opinion about you or discriminate against you as a result of that data they have about you. The person forming a biased opinion or discriminating against you as a result of this information about you. So, for example, racial information, ethnic origin. This person is this and that tribe. This person is a Hispanic, he's an African, he's a black man, he's a Caucasian, and all those kind of things, all right? Then political opinions. I did not talk so much about this. All right, of course, it is being practicalized in our Ghanaian sector. Why this? Why has the NDC government removed a lot of political appointees? Because they know they are NPP. All right? Because they know. So people that don't know, you don't do anything hardly to deal with them or tackle them with what? Political. So that's why I say, so political information, whether I belong to NDC or I belong to MPP or CPP, okay, it's what? It's sensitive because you knowing that it can make you form a biased opinion about me, especially when you are at the opposing side of the political divide, religious or philosophical beliefs. Well, thank God in Ghana, I always praise that here we don't have any rife between Muslims and Christians, Muslims, and other religions. We live here peacefully. But elsewhere, other places, but you identify as a particular religion, it has on its implication, the biases, okay, and the discriminations that will go against you. All right. Your trade union membership, your genetic data, biometric information, okay, health data. Of course, how many people would you know that they are HIV positive and you still want to do something with them? How many people would you know right now that this COVID that is rising now again, you know they have COVID and you want to entertain them? You see, as a result of that, you are going to form a biased opinion or you are going to discriminate. So that's why we call this information. They are also personal data, but we say they are sensitive. If you know my name, Emmanuel K. Gadasu, that one you can't discriminate against me as the result of the name itself. By you knowing any other, this information about me can lead you, okay, to form a biased opinion or discriminate against me. Data concerning a person's sexual life or sexual orientation. Well, in our Ghanaian culture, okay, most people abhor or dislike gay. All right. So knowing or having that information that you are a gay, okay, you will be discriminated against. The perception people will have about you, the opinions they will have about you will change automatically. And these can also affect you or you'll be discriminated against that. So that's why we call these information what? Sensitive. All right. And that most data protection, you can process all this information, but extra layer of protection needs to be applied when you are what? Dealing with what? These type of what? Personal data, the sensitive ones. All right. Now, data protection has some principle by which you have to process personal data. Okay. There are 8 of them. In some jurisdictions, you are going to see 7. All right, but it doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Number 1 is what? Lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. It's a principle. And this principle states that process data legally, fairly, and openly. Individuals should know what data is collected and why you are collecting the data. So what it means is that you need to let people know. It should be transparent. You don't covertly use systems, mechanisms, devices, platforms to collect data about people without they being aware. You have to be very transparent about what you are going to be using the data for once you have collected them. All right. Then also purpose limitation or specification of purpose. Collect data for specified purpose, explicit, legitimate purposes, and don't process it further in a manner incompatible with those purposes. So you see, there's a reason you are collecting the data. So let the data be used for that purpose. So for example, why am I taking your phone number? Oh, I'm taking your phone number so that I can WhatsApp you information, we can be chatting. That is the purpose. So if I take the phone number and I'm rather advertising services to you, that is not the purpose. So whatever information you collect, that is not the purpose. So for example, you are a health professional, you work in the hospital, you have collected data. The reason you collected the data is to give what? Medical treatment. So if you intend to give this information to an insurance company, that is not the purpose. All right, then data minimization. It says collect only data that is adequate, relevant, and limited to what is necessary for the purpose. All right. So data minimization simply means collect only what is necessary for what you want to provide. So for example, how many of us would not be surprised should you find yourself in any of the telco offices and you are going to register a new SIM card and they ask you of your blood group? Will you be concerned? Will you ask questions? Because it is not for the purpose. The purpose for the registration is different. Also, likewise, should you go to the hospital and they ask you of your blood group, will you be surprised? I hope definitely not. You will not be surprised because it's about health. But if you should go to the hospital and they should also ask you, okay, what political party do you belong to? How much do you have in your account? The first question is, what has my political opinion or political affiliation got to do with you giving me health treatment? Or this hospital, are you saying it's only the rich or people should have millions in their account before you treat them? I have the money to pay. You don't need to know how much I have in my account balance. You see, so the minimization, collect only the minimum. There are so many times organizations take data, okay, more than what they are going to use it for. So at times the common language you hear, you collect it, we'll find a use for it data. No. At the point of collection, we should know exactly what we are going to use data. Every element we are collecting for before we even start collecting. Then accuracy. Ensure data is accurate when necessary, kept up to date. Inaccurate data should be rectified or erased. It is the duty of the organization to ensure that their customers, clients, okay, have accurate data, updated data with them. So for example, changed, what has changed, and you have not updated your platform, or I can't update that. And you know that the number has been recycled, another person is in possession of the number now. Okay, so take for example, I've gone to a hospital and they are sending me my diagnosis, okay, a report through WhatsApp or through phone, my phone number, and I'm no longer using that. They have not changed it. What it means that that information, which is critical health information, is going to go to another person because you don't have accurate information. Or the email, instead of okay, you saw it as 1. The moment you send, it has gone to a wrong person. Now somebody will know my financial details, will know my medical records, a disciplinary action that have been taken against me, offenses that I've done in some courtesies. That is what is going to happen. Then storage limitation. What this principle states that you can't keep data longer than is necessary. So what is mean that you can't keep people's information forever. So you should keep it for as long as that individual is with you or is procuring your services. So for example, if my grandfather were an employee at your organization and is past and dead and gone, and as to today you are still having his information, what are you using the information for? Or he has resigned, he's gone on pension, how long do you want to keep his personal data? What information? You see, the information are also in categories. Some are mandated by law. So for example, all financial transaction records is mandated by law to be kept for a minimum of a minimum of 6 years. So you should have a timeline, the maximum that you can set. If the person is no longer an employee, how long are you going to keep, for example, information about their discipline action that was taken about them? How long are you going to keep that information? The law says you can't keep those information forever. Then the security of the information, where we are looking at the integrity and confidentiality of the information. So process data in a manner that ensures appropriate security, including protection against unauthorized or unlawful processing, against accidental loss, destruction, or damage, using appropriate technical and organizational measures. One key word here is the appropriate. What will be appropriate for organization A, depending on their size, their operations, the field or sector in which they find themselves, will determine what is appropriate. So for example, we will be expecting that the banks, looking at the financial nature, the direct benefit that they will get, the security system at their place should be higher than maybe a radio station or an agric farm, a farm that is into a mango farm plantation and the records that they keep there. We will not be expecting that they should be at the same level, because what will be appropriate for the banks will not necessarily be appropriate for what? The mango farm plantation. Because they are in different sectors, they process different categories of personal information. Then the last one is what? Accountability. The accountability, you have to be responsible and demonstrate compliance to all the above all the other privacy principle, data protection principle that we have outlined earlier. All right, so that is it. So these are the principles. So before the Data Protection Commission or any authority will say you have violated the law, they are going to indicate to you which of the principles you have violated per your operations and then fine you accordingly. So these are the ones that, yes, data subjects also have rights. Data subjects, like we defined earlier on, refers to the individual whose information you are processing, the identifiable person or the identified person whose information you are processing. And these are the rights that are accrued to them by law. So number one, the right to be informed. So whenever you are processing people's information, it is their right to be informed. So you have to take the necessary step to inform them. Then they also have the right of access. So the right of access means here that when they request for a copy of their data, you should make provision for the data for them. It is their data. Then the right to rectification. So every person whose data, customers, employees or staff whose data you process, they have the right to make corrections, rectification to the data you have on them. The right to object to processing. So they can tell you that, okay, this particular thing you want to use my information, I don't want to be part, or don't use my information for this particular activity, and it is their right. They also have the right to restrict processing. So say, oh, I don't want you to collect this data. No, hold on with this data. Okay? Hold on with this data. So you have it. Not that you are deleted, you still have it, but you can't use it for a particular purpose. Then the right to what? Data portability. Okay? All right. So this mostly in other jurisdictions that the Europe GDPR ensure that you are able to what? Port data. So the individual can move his data from one platform to another through technical means where applicable. Then the right to be forgotten, where applicable, individual can ask you to delete data about them. Okay, to erase every copy of data that you have about them, especially when you do not have the right authority or the legal basis to process this data. Then right in what? Information related to what? Automated decision making and profiling, where your systems rely solely on AI system, artificial intelligence systems, okay, where they rely on algorithms that are, based on technical or IT system to make a decision. The individual has the right to say, no, I don't want you to use my information on this particular platform. I don't want this system to make a decision for me. I want an individual, a human being, to be part of the decision-making process. So what it means that, for example, if you have a system that automatically determines a loan portfolio or how much individuals are worth it, because it is automatic, the individual can say, no, do you know what? The machine, I don't trust it, or I think the machine would make some biased information or something, or may not be. I want a human being to be involved in the process. Then a human intervention must be what? Catered for in all your processing and system that uses automatic or algorithms to make a decision on behalf of people. All right, so these are some of the rights that you and I went there. So you, as a professional, as a staff, as an employee, all these rights are accrue to you from your organization. Likewise, the customers also have these rights, okay, everywhere. It cuts across. So it's not a sector specific or an institution specific. So long as any institution, including your church, including your boys movement, girls club, and every association you belong to, owes you that duty to do that. All right. Now, when data falls into the wrong hands, what happens? Let's look at some of them. Okay. What is data breach? Simply put, it's a security incident leading to the accidental or unlawful destruction, loss, alteration, unauthorized disclosure of or access to personal data transmitted, stored, or otherwise processed. Recently in the news was what? MTN, where it was established after investigation that 5,700 people's information has been breached. That means somebody who is not supposed to have access to it have had access to that information. That's what it means. Or if the information is missing, then that is also a breach. All right. Now, what are some of the common causes of these breaches? Cyber attacks, phishing, ransomware, malware, hacking. Human error can also cause what? Data breaches. So, for example, a sensitive email is sent to the wrong recipient, or losing unencrypted devices, misconfiguring system can also lead to a loophole. The insider threats, malicious employees or staff, contractors, or unintentional misuse of access. Okay, some contractors or companies who have contracted, third parties who consultants who are working with you. Okay, they can be a threat. They can leak information by virtue of they having access to that in an unauthorized way. That is a breach. Then system vulnerabilities can also lead to that. For example, if your system is not patched, your software is outdated, you have not upgraded to the latest version, you have weak security controls, there's no firewall, Wi-Fi passwords are weak in system. This can all lead to what? Data breaches. Then physical theft. If the laptop is stolen, the device, that paper, that sheet of paper, okay, is taken away, is stolen, is missing. Your office has been ransacked. Some very vital document containing people's files of individuals have been taken away. So that is what physical theft. And this can also lead to breach. Because remember, we said the loss of the data is also a breach. So the physical listen is taken away, is missing. So for example, maybe some of your agents working under you in your various offices has gone to Kumasi or another town to, register people on a platform. They have all their forms and other things filled, about 2,000 of them. on his or her way from Kumasi coming to Accra, somebody has stolen the bag. All right. So that is a complete loss of that information, and that is a data breach. Remember that a data breach isn't always a malicious hack. Often it is an oversight. It's something that we have failed to look at that leads to what? These data breaches. All right. Now, what are the ripple effects or the consequences of a data breach? There are two sides of it. One, to the individual and to the organization. So to the individual, identity theft. So once that form is missing, somebody have had access to my data. What it means is that at the end of the day, that individual has access to me and they can use it to create what? Commit fraud. So you can see financial data fraud, opening of accounts in people's name without being aware. Of course, we have said something like that in GRA, so where somebody have used what? Somebody's what? Ghana card to create, register for tax registration numbers and created a company. Why? Because the person has access to this information. So identity theft. So you'll be there, you'll be arrested one day for committing what? A crime. Your company registered to your name, what? MTN mobile number, Momo number in your name that you are not aware. People have used your details to buy a car, to register what? Driver's licenses, or using it on Uber to drive a car. So that is what? An identity theft. Then financial loss, direct monetary theft, credit score damages, okay? So for example, somebody, gets access to your personal information. They can use it to reset your bank account details. Remember, bank accounts, we need what? Your Ghana card number, we need your date of birth and all those. Once the individual can get these things correctly, of course, they can easily do that. Emotional distress, anxiety, stress, and what? Feeling violated. So can you imagine your health records, okay? As the hospital where you get your treatment, their system has been breached, and all patient medical records have been put on Facebook, and you go to find out this. How are you going to feel? Maybe you have some ailments you have hidden from your family, you have hidden from colleagues at work, and nobody knows about that. So you have been violated. Reputational harm, if sensitive personal details are exposed. Of course, leakages about your recordings or certain things that you have done, or about certain things that you have done, okay? All these things, when you are exposed, you feel what? It will damage your reputation. Also, oh, so Mr. So-and-so has done it. Oh, this is too serious, okay? All right, then for the organization, you are going to face what? Regulatory fines, often very substantial, impacting profitability. Of course, I'm going to show you some of the records for you to ascertain that. Then lawsuit and compensation. I'm going to also show you an example in the Ghanaian space that is happening, okay? Reputational damage, loss of customer trust, negative media coverage, difficulty attracting new businesses. Companies wouldn't want to do with an organization that has been identified with a very serious breach. All right, then also operational disruptions, because it will cost you. Investigations are going to come. You have to shut down certain systems. Certain systems must be stopped so that it can be investigated by the appropriate authorities. Then loss of what? Intellectual property, if proprietary data is compromised, okay? All right, note that a breach is never just an IT problem. It impacts everyone, okay? Breach is never an IT problem. It's not a CTO problem. Everybody is impacted by it. All right. Okay, so these are some of the things that has happened in Ghana. I'm sure some of you or most of us may have heard of it. Court orders ride-hailing app Bolt to pay 1.9 million compensation in an identity theft case. All right. So yes, it's in the news all over. The date is GNA September 20th, 2024. Okay, it's less than a year. All right. Then recently, Peace and Love Hospital sued for camera in breast screening room. A patient sued the hospital. It's all over. It was all over the news. Then most also is the what? Makola Onion seller sues Telecel for 2 million Ghana for using her picture without her consent. Of course, we are professionals in the field, and we need to take care of all this. And these are very hefty fines in Ghanaian ways. All right, let's look at the international one. So Google. This is how much Google has been fined over the years across by different countries. Look at it. These are what? In what? Euros. So in 2019, France fined Google LLC 50 million euros. What is the offense? Look at the last column here. Insufficient legal basis for data processing. They say insufficient. They didn't say absence of it. Sweden has also fined Google for 5 million. France again in 2021, that's 2 years after, fined Google again. Okay, 90 million what euros. Spain has also fined what Google 10 million euros. All right, if you have never heard of it, you may be surprised. Now look at this one. Okay, Ireland has fined Facebook Meta platform consistently. It's like, if you look at the date, it's like every 3 months they fine them. So 2022, March 15th, 17 million euros. 2022, that same year, 6 months after, that is September 5th, 405 million euros. 2 months after, 265 million euros. 2 months after again, 390 million euros. Well, another 4 months after, 1.2 billion euros. Then, 4 months after, another what? 91 million euros. Well, don't be surprised. So it has been, and this is the same authority, Ireland Data Protection Commission, fining Facebook platforms, Ireland Limited, consistently. So these are the fines, and this is recorded. So you see, you may not have heard of it, but don't be surprised. These are the penalties that have been meted out to organizations. Okay. All right. These are the offenses that Ghana we have. Ghana, our offenses are in penalty units. Okay, that of the GDPR, this one. Okay, the penalty is 20 million euros or 4% of your global annual revenue of the preceding year. That is the penalty for the GDPR. 20 million euros or 4% of your global annual revenue of the preceding year, whichever one is higher. All right, Ghana, this is our law. Okay, so ours is in penalty units. So one penalty unit is currently, the monetary term is 12 cedis, so you multiply by it. So the highest offense penalty unit that can be given is what? 5,000. So 5,000 times 12 cedis, that gives you 60,000. Or in addition, you go to what? Prison for 10 years for violating the Data Protection Act. Sorry. So you may not be aware of this, but today you are aware. So there are penalties associated. So for example, knowingly obtain, purchase, or disclose personal data, 250 penalty unit or 2 years in play, knowingly. So you have disclosed, and what is disclosure? Even when people watch it on your screen, you print it out, that is disclosure, or knowingly, or purchase, or you buy the data, or the sale of personal data. So as a professional, you sell personal data, an organization contact you, can you give me your employees list so that I can, market some insurance? That's sale. You giving it to them, and the person gives you 1 gig of data. Oh, thank you for sending me this. That is sale of data. All right. So these are the laws are there. If you don't register your organization, failure to register, 250 for penalty in it, or 2 years imprisonment, or both of them. All right. Okay, so these are there. Now, what is your role as a professional? Let's look at some few of them. All right, so every professional can take the following. 1, understand your organization's data policy. Does the organization have? If you don't have, then you need to alert management to have the idea that we need to have a data policy, how we handle personal data in our organization. You need to have what we call a data protection program in the organization that dictates how the organization is going to protect personal data, the steps you are taking, and all the strategic decisions you are making about data. Know what data you collect and why. So as a professional, whatever data your organization collects, personal data they collect, you should know, why are we collecting it? What are we going to use it for? How long are we going to keep it? Who are going to have access to this data? Then also always ask yourself, do I need this data? You don't collect data in anticipation of use. At the point of collection, you should know what really you are going to collect the data and use for. Not that, so phrases that well, let's collect it and later on, we don't want to come back and collect it again. So let's collect all that we can collect. No, collect only what is needed. Then report incidents immediately. Once you suspect there's a data breach. Data breach is unauthorized access. The data is missing. We can't see the data anymore. The pen drive is missing. The laptop is missing. That is a data breach. You have to report it immediately. Now, continuous learning as a professional, and I'm glad we are having this discussion this year. So this is a form of what? Continuous learning. Awareness screen. Stay informed about the latest privacy threat and best practices. Participate in training sessions and awareness programs. Data protection is an evolving field. continuous learning is key. You don't stay. It is changing every day. Ghana, we made our laws in 2012. As we speak now, the law has been what? In a draft amended. It's in draft now. We are going to change the law. So the law you knew yesterday, by the close of this year, is going to change. KVED has changed their law. GDPR UK has updated their law. It started in 2018 and they have changed. It is an area that keeps on changing. So continuous knowledge and education is very key. Then document handling, secure disposal, shred physical document containing personal data, digital deletion, permanently delete digital files from all locations, recycle, bin, and cloud. But there's a forensic way. Your normal delete, control shift delete does not erase data completely from your system. Any specialist IT person, forensic person can recover that data. If you bring it with the necessary motivation, I can recover that data for you. So there's a way to delete digital data in a forensic way that it cannot be recovered. Your normal delete does not completely delete the data from the system. It is still there. All right. Then social media and professional boundaries. Be cautious about what personal information you share online, as it can be pieced together. Now, why is the US government asking that before you go for a visa application, you have to make your social media handle public? They want to know. So they will be gathering data there. So whatever you have shared, okay, to the general public can be used against you. So as a professional, you need to be very careful. Understand your organization's social media policy. Well, some organizations that have worked for you can't go and be posting anything and be tagging the organization or purport to make a post in the name of the organization. That is not your duty. Okay. Then also avoid discussing confidential company or customer information on the personal social media. Hey, you don't know about this big politician. He holds a policy in our firm. Tell the money that this person has, you are disclosing professional information outside your work limits. You don't go talking about this to your spouse, to your family. No. All right. Now, building a culture of privacy. Okay, from the top to the down, leadership commitment is vital, but every employee has a role to play. The top management must take it that, yes, let's do something that relates to privacy. Let's change our culture. Let's be privacy sensitive in whatever we do. All right, then empowerment through knowledge. When professionals understand why data protection matters, they become active participants. Let them be aware. We should be aware. Now we're speaking about something, why data protection is important and why we have to adhere to that. All right, then the next thing is what we call privacy by design and by default. This is a concept in data protection, where the way you design the system, you have taken into consideration privacy concerns. And by default, also, the individual doesn't need to do anything before their privacy in that part of the system is ensured. So as part of the design, this is part of it in entirety. So from the beginning, you are adding this thing into it. All right. Then open communication, foster an environment where employees feel comfortable raising privacy concerns and reporting incidents without fear of reprisal. So they can freely, the atmosphere is congenial. No, oh, boss, I've seen this and that, and nobody will be nothing will be against that particular individual. So that's what we're talking about. Then continuous improvement. We also look at regular review and update privacy practices based on new threats and new regulations. So you look at all that. So that's what can help us build. All right, now to us, how do you stay? We need to stay ahead of the curve. As professionals, AI and data ethics have become the order of the day. Everybody is speaking about AI. If you don't take care, you may be too late. So you need to go. These things have become very relevant. So we need to have a firm understanding so that we can stay ahead. So when we are deploying AI systems, and all this, and we are looking at the ethics and things that goes into that. The new regulation and global harmonization. More countries are enacting their own data protection laws. Almost for now, more than about 80% of countries in Africa all have a data protection regulation or laws in one way or the other. All right. So you need to stay ahead and understand every country. As a professional, your organization might be processing data from various countries. And the law says that you have to process it according to the laws of that country. For example, if the data is coming from Nigeria to Ghana, Kenya to Ghana, South Africa to Ghana, for you to work on and process for them or do something with it for them, you would have to do it according to the laws of those lands. That's what the law says. So you need to understand those laws too, so that you can guide your organization into processing data in a very professional and data protection or privacy oriented way, increasing individual rights. Now people are beginning to know their rights. Who were people those times to sue a hospital because there's what? A CCTV camera? Who are you to go and sue Vodafone, Telecel for using your picture? But people now know their rights, and they would exercise it through the law courts. All right, they would exercise it. So as a matter of fact, a lot of people are beginning to know what their right is. So therefore, they easily go their way, you know. All right. Then the evolving threat landscape. Cyber criminals are becoming more sophisticated. We have AI systems that are attacking computerized systems of IT platforms now. New attack vectors and vulnerability will continue to emerge, requiring constant vigilance. What are they looking? They are looking for your data. They take your organization on ransom. They are keeping the information of all the employees and other things in their database. That's what they are doing. All right. Now, the conclusion and the call to action. Okay. Now, so a recap. Data protection is not just a legal obligation. It's about trust. It's about ethics. It's about organizational resilience. Every professional has a critical role in safeguarding for personal data, regardless of, so long as you are working on people's information come to your hand, you are assessing something, you are analyzing something, you are diagnosing something, you are making a decision, you have a role to protect what or guard personal data. Your actions, big or small, contribute to secure and privacy respecting environment. Well, a simple call to action is that be a privacy champion. Advocate for best practices in your team and department. Stay informed, keep learning about data protection development. Then also report concerns. Don't hesitate to report any potential privacy or security issues. Practice what you preach. Apply data protection principles in your daily task. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I draw down the questions, the curtains, and I'm ready for your questions if you have any, so that we can see how we can explain better. Thank you.